him.
Okay.
Now, you know who I am mad at, though, to be honest with you? Remy and motherfucking Papoose. Okay, I am mad at both of them because I thought better of both of them. I think many of us thought better than that because, oh my God, what happened to Black Love? Just like almost like my voice. What the fuck happened to it? Right? Because they were solid. Or so we thought until recently, where all of these receipts, I don't know to feel like, were they a fraud this entire fucking time? Or was this a really great relationship that went horribly bad? Like, what the fuck? They put us in the group chat unnecessarily. I mean, I don't know what to make of this. I mean, to be honest with you, I ain't know Pap's music a lot, but I feel like he would stand up. Remy, I mean, I leaned back off of her for the last few years. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say, y'all. What's y'all thoughts on this, man? Black love, black fake black love? I don't even know.
It's like a bad workplace romance, man. Wasn't he like a battle rapper before he was like whatever? Isn't she like the promoter of battle rappers and stuff? I think it's a bad work,
No, he was more than just a battle rapper. He
Oh.
was signed back in the day. His career kind of stalled a little bit, but
he became a battle rapper.
Well, no, the new dude that she's with, I think
he's a
is the battle rapper. But I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So my point. So I reason why I confused him with the battle rapping crowd, which is not a bad crowd, a lot of talented people there, is because I do recall when the story first broke, because somebody went off on the guy who was sleeping with Remy Ma about the situation. That's how it all hit the fan and whatever. And I think Papoose wasn't that far off when the situation was blowing. Anyway, so I'm assuming he stood there quietly and he knew it was bad and he just stayed in it, which is kind of what I'm reading from as I'm looking over the relationship and the receipts. It's a lot. Honestly, I can't process it all. I just go in, look a little bit, give me a little grab and go. The gist of it, I think, is this. I think that Papoose is and man, I ain't gonna have no friends as I do this. I think Papoose is probably like a beta male, right? He's a beta, and then Remy Ma is more like a little alpha. You know what I'm saying? He was content with that, and then she wanted somebody who was a little more alpha than his beta was. And I don't know if this dude fit the bill, but she went and started tricking off. She wasn't really impressed by his manlyhood, and she wasn't really moved and felt like she needed to stay and respect him or be subjective or whatever, be submissive or whatever. So then he goes and finds another alpha female. Clearly, Clarissa Shields is nobody's beta anything, right? And he found somebody who could whoop Remy Ma, who probably looking at him and looking at her, she might have been beating him up. I know I got a lot of things in there that ain't nobody proving, but just when I look at him is what I see. I see a man who looked like he'd been abused, and now he's in a better relationship with somebody that can protect him and make him feel secure. And so,
wow.
I really. I didn't like the way Remy emasculated him, even though I'm kind of doing the same thing right now in a joking way. But I think that kind of suggests to me what the tone was in their relationship, right? Her level of respect. Now I know what you're saying. When people fall apart, they get disrespectful, they get flip out the mouth, they say stuff, this and this and that. I will add to that though, when adults fall apart, if they ever loved each other, they should still be able to respect each other. But they never respected each other. That's what comes out the first when they start to separate. I think that's what we're seeing here. It's a dearth of respect. And I think he had enough and he moved on to somebody he thought would give him that. And you know what I'm saying? If I had to choose 22, I'd probably take Clarissa too. Because, I mean, she cleaned up well and she can fight. So, you know what I'm saying? Now we in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Dare you to say something. What? So go ahead.
Not you saying that he basically was weak and he needed a woman to fight his old woman. He needed her battle skills. That's messed up.
That is messed up.
That's messed up.
You wouldn't say it to Papoose face.
Because I was going to say...
I wouldn't say it to Carissa's face.
You would say, oh, that's crazy. You wilding out for real now.
It's just Jay. It's just Jay on all socials, Mr. Goodwoods. Yeah, go ahead.
Give him the smoke. We ain't want none of this smoke. Because, he did throw them hands on, what's his name? Captain Easy or Easy the Captain or whatever the battle rapper name was. Yeah, he threw hands then. He was like, you disrespected me. And so he apparently was down for the clown right then. So I think that I'm disappointed because, and I know it's weird that I'm disappointed because normally celebrity relationships, they come and go and so forth. But this was sold as the grand love story of a lifetime. And it was sold as a story. And the reason why I like this story was because usually it's the woman holding the man down putting money on the man books when the man go to prison. And instead, we got an example of a man holding the woman down. For 8 years, he held her down. And then he get out. And before she even gets out, they get married on the phone. They have an incarceration marriage via the phone. I don't know how that worked, if it was three-way calling or what they did with, if it was a conference call in the courtroom. I don't know. But anyways, it's just the fact that this was an awesome love story. And you know what I think went wrong? When they went on Love and Hip Hop. I think whoever goes on any reality show, if there's any cracks in your marriage, that reality show is going to go ahead and just right through there. Just going right through there. And so I'm sad to see that it has gotten down to where it is now, where they're trading jabs, and it has come out, according to him, that she's been cheating the entire relationship, to include her gay for play while she was in prison. Apparently she had a girlfriend, allegedly, and now it's just all this stuff that's coming out that he was not happy. And then Remy stating that they haven't been together actually since 2022. They just kept up to the appearances. And so it kind of reminded me of like when Jada was like, hey, Will and I haven't been together for over 10 years. And it was like, what? Well, but we knew something, because you couldn't be having some young buck in your house and he's singing songs about him slapping them cheeks. And, so we knew something was there. But anyway, so with Papoose and Remy, I'm just sad to see that it went this way. And I truly believe that Love and Hip Hop was like the beginning of the downhill for them. And as she continued to blow up and he continued to fade into the background, because like he was a loving father. He was the primary caretaker for the child, right? For their daughter. And it was like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. He recognized his traditional role, or not his non-traditional role, not traditional, but his non-traditional role technically. And that's why when you shout out the fact that she was an alpha female, by all accounts, by him playing this role, I think they was redefining gender roles and everything. So I was all for the story. And to hear everything that's happening out now, it's like, oh, this is sad. And it's not just sad because they're trading, shots at each other and coming to blows, but it's because it was all a lie. It's basically what it sounds like now. It was all a lie. And so for people who hold celebrities up to a certain esteem and whatnot, I think that it just disillusioned more folks, because this was the so-called love story of a lifetime, and boom, nothing.
So I got to first push back on this alpha beta narrative, because I don't think that's what's happening here. And I'm also pushing back because there's many men who are in support of a wife who may be further in her career or doing certain things. And so when people say, oh, Black men aren't willing to do certain things around the home or whatever, or take care of the kids, and then you have a guy who's done that, then I want to focus on that more so, because I do think we run the risk of making it seem like men who are willing to take on certain roles, that automatically makes it seem like they're being a beta. Now, for anybody who's followed Papoose, right, at least in terms of how he's moved through the streets or in hip hop or whatever, I don't know that people would assume that he's a beta in that way, right? And I think he's one of those guys that tends to garner respect amongst men in his peer group, at least the way that I've seen people speak of him. So I don't know that that's necessarily relevant here, also because I try to understand where people are coming from. I think it's easy to lead with judgment because these are things that most of us would say that we would not do, right? But you also got to remember that Remy did spend years in prison. People go to jail and they come out differently, right? And they aren't the only ones who are affected by their incarceration, right? You have the people who are also on the outside. And so I'm sitting here trying to make sense of it all. And I do think I kind of have a little picture in my head of a man, I'm going to start with him, who kind of committed himself to a relationship. And I think in committing himself to a relationship, he had principles that believe a stand-up person, a stand-up man. Yes, I know who I'm getting with. Yes, I'm marrying this woman who shot her friend, allegedly, right? Or I guess not, because she was convicted for it. She spent X amount of time in prison. I know what she had to go through. So yes, she had to do some things with some other women or whatever. I understand all that. So she comes out of prison and I'm going to love her. And we're going to work through our issues until we're not, right? And so I do think sometimes people get committed not just to the relationship, but the idea of the relationship